Hello, everybody. Hey, we're back. We're ready to talk more politics, and this time we got Blake Gordon.
What's going on?
Man, I feel like I'm talking to a Superman character when I say it's like you say Flash Gordon. It's Blake
Yeah.
Gordon.
Flash.
Well, listen, man. I met this young man about God. When was he down at the center?
It was probably it was around the Black Lives Matter protest because I remember
Yeah,
the town hall meetings that
yeah,
we
and
went
Black
to.
Lives Matter. That was in June.
June-ish.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. So sometime around that time.
Who is Blake Gordon?
Blake Gordon is a passionate individual who loves to see the job get done. And I intend to do every bit of that. I'm a well-researched, studious man, student of life, really. And I just really want to see Ardmore improve. And I feel like I could institute the policies in place that could actually see that happen. Now, unfortunately, these are multi-decade plans. So I think myself, as a city commissioner, would definitely be on board for trudging that out. And I hope that all the other candidates are too, because fixing Ardmore is going to be a very long process. And I feel like I'm one of the only people that could really put the work in that is necessary.
Let's talk about Blake's vision. Can you at least give me three things,
Oh,
and
yeah.
let's break down the first one first. What is your ultimate primary goal for Ardmore?
Okay, so first one is just short-term goal. It's getting a integrated arterial sidewalk system put in place. What that is basically is, you know how we have artery roads and collector roads. So artery roads are our main roads. Think Main Street, Broadway, Commerce, Washington. Those are our main roads. I want to see that instituted as a sidewalk, mostly on the east side. Think Main Street. You know how we have those nice they're bricked in sidewalks, it's got pedestrian lighting. I'm gonna see that go all the way down Main Street, at least to the community center, just to connect that community center to the city center, but I would love to see it go even further past. That one would be great. One on 3rd Street and one on 5th Street, like sidewalks that like can bring people over to the other side of the tracks. I feel like that would do a lot for like connectivity. That's kind of like the first one. We would have like those main arteries and obviously little collectors that go off, like at Fraley Park and the water park, so kids are able to walk instead of having to walk in the streets. Because I feel like there's a lot of stigma for people that walk in the streets, that ride bikes. And me personally, I skateboard a lot. I skate a lot, but oftentimes people in cars who are driving are pretty aggressive to the people that are just trying to get somewhere just the same. So yeah, sidewalks. Next piece.
Wait, hold on. Let me ask you a question now, because you said something really good. Fraley, which is Martin Luther King, and then you have also 3rd Street, where the center, the water park is, and then there's Main Street. So would you say that the link street that connects all three of those would be F Street?
Definitely.
Yeah, F Street is, believe it or not, back in the day in the our African American time period, that was a street where most of the black doctors lived at back in the 60s, and that was a paved street. And Main Street at one time used to be all brick during that time period.
Really?
I have pictures on it. Main Street was all lit up and everything on the east side. It just kind of fizzled out in the 80s or so. But but I like your concept on that, far as taking that up on so F Street, 3rd Street, and 5th Avenue, which is Martin Luther King, correct?
Yes, sir.
All right. Now, let's talk about your second agenda item.
Oof. All right, so the second one that's a huge one for me is extending the mixed-use commercial business district that we have in Main Street. And what it does is it goes all the way up to the tracks and then shoots off to the left, going down Caddo Street. I don't want that. I want to see that go across the tracks. I want to see these like nice little mixed-use buildings with the storefronts on the bottom, the apartments on the top. I want to see that go at least past the tracks. We have a whole bunch of buildings that used to be there that were
BLO and
built and then they were blown up during that gas explosion way back in like the 80s,
early,
90s or
yeah,
something.
it was and it was like in the 1900s. So that was the explosion. Everybody knows about that. That happened.
We had a whole bunch of hotels. We had a whole bunch of shops, hardware stores, iron things. We had a whole bunch of things, but unfortunately, we've divested from that entire side of Ardmore, really. The east side has been systemically like divested from. A lot of our commercial and what are those things called? Industrial opportunities on that side have been shifted to like west of Commerce. The entirety of Ardmore's like commercial, I guess, uses are all on the west side now. We don't even have like neighborhood commercial on this side of town, so it kind of stinks. It makes east of the tracks a food desert. If you don't have access to healthy foods, like we don't have on the east side, we mostly eat out of convenience stores or Dollar Generals, Family Dollars. These things are all sugar-laden, sodium-laden foods, which contribute back to the negative health effects that we suffer from to this day, which again goes on to cost us even more money because you have to get those conditions treated. You have to get all of these, it makes things so much harder to make like a livable, functional city. If your population is sedentary, if your population is not mobile, it doesn't really interact with one another. I know what the solution is. It's just getting to it is going to be the hardest, longest struggle. And Evanston, Illinois is actually a great example of that. They were able to institute these policies 20 years ago, and around the year 2000, 1999. And much like Ardmore, they had a comprehensive plan that was put in place and that they actually adopted. That's one thing I would love to see Ardmore do, is actually adopt the Ardmore comprehensive plan, because it goes into a lot of the actions that need to take place for Ardmore to look like Evanston, Illinois, which is now much more livable, much more walkable, and just all around just a better place to live.
Gotcha. Blake Gordon is in here talking with us today, and of course the election is coming up. When does early voting begin, Blake?
Early voting is April 1st and 2nd. The actual election day is April 6th.
All right, and what can you do to get young people to come to the polls and go vote? Because you saw what happened with Stacey Abrams, what she was able to do in Georgia, because she was able to get them there. And the biggest concern is getting young people to go to the polls and vote, Blake.
Yeah, I know, and this has been a struggle for, I guess, as long as we've had democracy. Getting young people engaged it's an effort. And the Stacey Abrams one, what she actually did, well, a big part of it was a concept called deep canvassing, where you're in the community, you're always in the community, you're always canvassing, you're always doing these things, and this is a multi-year effort that really kind of paid off. So it's like family members talking to family members, cousins talking to cousins, hey, let's go and vote, let's make our plans to go and vote. They put a lot of work in, and we get to reap the benefits of that to this day. Unfortunately, getting young people to vote in Ardmore, it's going to take something kind of like that. Unfortunately, we're extremely disengaged, kind of hopeless. We don't really see that electoral politics really doing much for us, and it's really unfortunate because national elections, they don't really affect much on your local living, but local elections can change your entire community.
That's right. You know, we've talked about that before. Mm-hmm. Now, we talked about two of your things. One was about the streets, and then, of course, going to the next level as far as getting some of these buildings and extending more activities on the east side. What is your third ultimate goal, Blake?
My third, more leisure, recreational, and communal areas. We have to have them. We have to have them. If you want to live in a smaller town, you would expect us to have more like community connections, you know? And unfortunately, it seems like we're like alienated from one another. Unfortunately, we kind of have like this car culture, which really kind of contributes to the urban sprawl mentality. And again, in conjunction with the lack of sidewalks and lack of like recreational and communal areas, we don't really get to foster those close community relationships like I would like to see, that I would like to see in Ardmore. Because unfortunately, if you don't have a car, you're not able to get to these other places. One of my favorite places is Regional Park. Regional Park is way on the outskirts of town. Anybody on the east side, actually a lot of people on the east side, don't even know it exists just because they've never been over there. It's one of my favorite places. I'm there pretty much every day, but we don't have any of those things on the east side. We don't have a regional park on the east side. We have Whittington, but Whittington has, again, fallen to victim of disinvestment, high investment. It kind of stinks, but these are things that we could change in the city. We could put that investment back in these parks. I want to see more parks. I want to see more communal areas. I want to see more recreational areas.
You know, I want to say something about Winnington. One thing I would like to see, one thing compared when you look at regional park, they got walking trails. So if you can at least put a walking trail.
They got water fountains. They just spent $157,000 on pickleball courts, if you know what pickleball is. And I've been fighting just to get a water fountain put in at the skate park, and that has been like pulling teeth with the people currently in charge. It's a struggle. It's a struggle. So yeah, more parks, more recreation, more things on the east side, and what that's going to take is relaxed zoning restrictions. A lot of our zoning on the east of the tracks is all zoned RS6, which is residential, single family, detached.
I want to ask you a question because one of the concerns I have is that, you know, there are a lot of houses, if they're not fit to be there, but then you own the land, you pay your taxes, but you can't build another property on the place. I mean, what's up on that?
So unfortunately, that's like zoning issues. That's my third big one, by the way. Zoning. We need to be able to zone for things like this. I know a person who owns a piece of property zoned RS6 who was having trouble getting. There was a house there. It was dilapidated, much like many of the properties over there on the east side. 33.5% of our land use right now, currently in Ardmore, is vacant. 33.5. Anyways, this man, he wants to build a quadplex on his piece of land, and he's unable to do so because it's zoned RS6. So unless he gets, or we get elected and get more lax zoning restrictions or conditional use permits, he's not able to build what he actually wants to build on his own plot of land, which is ridiculous to me. And it all comes down to zoning. Right now, if it's residential, you're only really able to build single family homes, which unfortunately they don't really work out that well. It drives up infrastructure costs, linking those things up to the energy grid, the water grid. All of those things cost a lot of money. It's a lot harder to run piping and electricity to 8 houses done like this compared to 8 houses going up. It's much cheaper to do that, and that would contribute to lower infrastructure costs, which would help alleviate a lot of our budget problems.
All right, we've been talking with, of course, Mr. Blake Gordon, who is a candidate for, of course, Ward 2. Election is coming up in April the 6th, and early voting is April
1st and 2nd.
First and 2nd, April Fool's Day. So get out to vote. Last question, why should we vote for Blake Gordon?
Because I'm going to get it done. I'm going to get it done. That's it. You want to see a better Ardmore? You vote for Blake.
All right. Enough said. He stopped by, talked with us today. Please share this with us. And remember, before you say anything, ask yourself the question, am I going to go vote? Will I show up at the polls?
Make a plan to vote. Make a plan to vote. 90% of people who go and vote have a plan to go and vote. Get your family, get your cousins, get your friends, get everybody to the polls. April 1st, get you fools to the polls, man.
All right, you heard it what he says. All right, we're out of here. Thank you so much, Mr. Gordon.
Have a good one.